What I do usually, I build my drink inside the small tin, then ice up, I close the tin, and then I shake. Everyone has a different shake technique. This is my shake, and then to open, I don't smack the tin, I just press in the right angle, and it opens.
Hey guys, this is Sid Patel here, CEO of London Spirits Competition and Beverage Trade Network. We are in this fantastic neighborhood bar. I'm here with David. David, thanks for having us here. We're going to talk, about bar tools, the business of bar tools, how they're used, what is a good bar tool, like why you've selected, what you've selected. So I think let's just get into that and really, this is for the young bartenders trying to understand if you're buying bar tools or even trying to make at home your cocktails, what kind of gadgets are needed at minimum level. So over to you. Why don't you introduce yourself, your journey, and about your lovely bar here.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Davide Leanza. I'm the bar manager here at Mama Funki in South London, Camberwell. And I've joined the family business. My brother and the wife are the owners of the bar. And yeah, here I am. Let's start with mixing glasses. I think they're called glasses, but actually they're tins, because we think that the best way to control the temperature when you stir a cocktail is using metal, so that you feel the temperature straight away, and it doesn't over dilute the drink as well.
Good to know.
So it's super thermoconductor.
So you would know how much ice is too cold. What is?
So basically, if you use a glass or a tin, a metal tin, in the glass, by the time you feel the cold, let's say, the drink might be even
warmer,
too diluted inside.
Understood.
Because the glass doesn't get cold enough, fast enough.
Understood.
Instead, the metal tin, you feel the cold straight away. You feel the temperature straight away. So when you're stirring a drink, just with the touch, obviously you should taste your drinks to understand the taste and the dilution and the balance as well. But just with the touch of the tin, you understand if the drink is cold enough or not. So that's why we use metal tins.
And how is this used? When is this used? What is it
used for? This is used for stirred cocktails. So, for example, a martini, a Manhattan, an old-fashioned, drinks that usually don't need to be shaken because there's no juice inside, there's no citrus maybe, there's nothing that needs aeration or that needs a shake to blend.
Opening up or...
exactly. So something that it's either served on the rocks, usually, like with a big block of ice, or maybe in a coupe like a martini.
Understood. So, and then pretty much, you're just using this for mixology for those kind of drinks, and you're stirring, and then you're again pouring in a glass and giving.
Exactly. Exactly.
Understood.
And usually the tool that we use to strain the drink is this one. It's called julep strainer. This will just prevent the ice inside the tin to,
Understood. It's like a pourer.
Flow in the glass. And
this is the technique, pretty much?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's, you don't hold on the glass and then you pour like that.
No, exactly. It's not like this.
It's one hand. You have
hold with one finger on the handle and pour. And that's it.
Understood.
For our glasses, we use this particular glass for water. It's just our water glass. If people want ice water, we just put a couple of cubes, and then with the carafe straight away, when they sit at the bar, we welcome them with a nice glass of water. Otherwise, at the table, same thing, glass, and we bring a bottle At the moment it's here, but usually we fill them and we keep them in the waiter station. So we leave the bottle of water at the table, so everyone can serve themselves. We have this rock glass that we use for one of our signature cocktail, which is a variation of a Negroni. It's called Holy Negroni. It's made with raspberry kombucha instead of gin. We also use this for drinks that are served on the rocks but are slightly bigger. For example, a New York classic called Estate Old Up. If you like passion fruit martini, look Estate Old Up and you're gonna be happy about it.
How do you measure this? How much to put in this? Is there a measurement?
Usually you use measures, the jiggers.
Okay.
So for example, this one has 10 ml on this side and has 15, 20, 30, 45, 60 and 75. So this is very useful for many drinks. But also this one has 10 ml inside and 20 on top, 30 ml and 40 on top. And this has 15, 25, 35 and 50 on top. We also use little spoons, so this is 2.5 ml, 5 ml and 7.5. For example, our old fashioned, we use 2 dashes of Angostura, 7.5 ml of simple syrup, and 60 ml, so I use this line, the 60 ml, of bourbon whiskey. This is our standard rock glass for old fashions, margaritas on the rocks. Basically, any standard cocktail that is served on the rocks is a standard measure. We usually do, for example, if it's a margarita, salt trim and normal cube ice, or if it's an old fashioned or that style of cocktail, we put a big, large block of ice.
So the dots have to connect to the glass as well, right? So you already know which glass the drink is going on, and then that is your measurements.
Exactly. Every drink is, let's say, studied to fit in the right glass.
Got it.
So you have the right measurement. If I had to change glassware, potentially I would have to adjust the recipe.
So as a bartender, it's interesting that you got to know which glass it will be served in.
Absolutely.
Even if you tomorrow went to a new bar, you would first want to know which glass, what drink, and then based on that, you have to again retrain yourself in the new way to mix drinks.
Absolutely, and that's why every bar has their own recipes, their own specs for the same cocktails. Everyone makes them slightly different because obviously everyone has a different taste, but also because of the size. Of the glasses and so on. Highballs for spirit mixers, or for whiskey highballs, for example, palomas, and these kind of drinks. So drinks that are long, refreshing, usually maybe top up with some bubbles or some sodas. They need a little bit of lighter, taller space to express themselves perfectly. Then we have our wine glass that we just use for white, red and sparkling wine.
Let's move on.
Then shakers. These are probably the shakers that you find in most bars nowadays. So metal tins, both sides. A few years ago, maybe like 5-10 years ago, you would find Boston shakers, so with a glass instead of the metal small tin. But that, for the same reason I said before, of the mixing glass, to feel the temperature. And also many times those glass tins were going to break as well. They were very difficult to open as well. So this is super simple. What I do usually, I build my drink inside the small tin, then ice up, I close the tin, and then I shake. Everyone has a different shake technique. This is my shake, and then to open, I don't smack the tin, I just press in the right angle, and it opens. Very easy. Also, this is like very light, as you can feel. You can feel the temperature straight away. Of course, bartenders know that if you're shaking, let's say, a margarita or an espresso martini, there's different maybe movements slightly that you have to do, and different timings in the shake. So for example, a margarita usually is a strong and short shake, and an espresso martini is a bit longer shake, and also a bigger movement because you want a big foam on top, so it needs to aerate a lot. But those are like little details.
Yeah, no, it's good. I mean, it's good to know. I mean, even I did not know the details about, for example, if you need a foam, that obviously you need to do a lot more, and some drinks.
So we have 3 different style of coupes, let's say. We have a large coupe that it's where we serve espresso martinis or a sour cocktail with egg white, margaritas. Mainly these drinks, Cosmopolitan, for example, things that historically are served in a coupe or in a martini glass, and are probably a little larger in capacity as well.
But what about, egg whites and those kind of things, like whiskey sour, for example?
Yeah.
How does that come in play?
So actually, we have 2 different ways of making egg white cocktails. If they are served in a coupe, so without ice, we use the shaker and long shake for a little time, Otherwise, if they are served on the rocks, we avoid all the hassle and we use a blender. So we pour our ingredients inside, 2 cubes of ice, then just close it and blend. Easy. That's it. And it's super fast. It creates a very nice foam. It's very consistent. It's always...
So I think what I'm listening is, if it's more creamy, textury foam, then it's a longer shake drink, or this proper has to be mixed so well so that the foam comes.
Absolutely. The more air you can incorporate in the drink, the bigger foam you will have in the drink.
Understood. And but you don't get to see the hard part about this is you don't know when to stop, right? So it's purely based on experience. But if you were to train a new bartender, if I started with you tomorrow, what would you tell me? Like, okay, standard is 30 seconds, 20 seconds.
Start with a very little time first, because there's no harm in tasting your drink and thinking, oh, maybe it needs a little bit more.
Understood.
But don't shake like 20 seconds. And then when you taste it, it's over diluted. Then we have, these are actually called Nick and Nora. It's a style of glassware that is very similar to a coupe, but it's a little bit more narrow as a space, and usually slightly less, contains slightly less volume as well. We use this one for a couple of signature cocktails. For example, a variation of a daiquiri. Is slightly bigger than the second, and it really expresses sour cocktails very well, like daisies, for example, like margaritas and such, but they are slightly less voluminous.
So you are tasting directly from this, right, to test?
Yes.
So how are you tasting?
We use straws. Okay. So you put the straws in the tin, for example. If you tap here, it basically captures the liquid and then direct in the mouth. And then we have a little tin in the sink.
One question I have there, just out of curiosity.
Yes.
When you're doing this, you're picking the liquid from the bottom. But when a customer is sipping, it's usually from the top. Is it the same thing? Because usually I think, the top is a little different than the bottom.
Yeah, in the shaker at least, it is exactly the same thing, because it's just been moved.
Understood.
So the whole liquid, the whole cocktail, it's the same top to bottom.
Okay.
Obviously, when you put it in a drink and it sits for like 10, 15, 20 seconds and it has a foam, for example, yes, of course, the top, you get just the foam maybe. If you have a bigger sip, you get the whole drink.
Understood.
This style of Nick and Nora instead, we use it for Manhattan, martinis, other couple of more boozy, strong cocktails, and I think the shape of the glass allows you to understand a little bit better the aromatics as well, because it's like almost like a tulip, so the aromatics go straight to your nose.
I think you can control the textures, and we know how that is controlled. What about the color and the mixology? if you mix too much, maybe if you're trying to make a rosé cocktail, I'm just trying to imagine, put a scenario there. Like, do you think the color comes out more if you shake more, or the color is always standard? Doesn't matter if it's 20 seconds or 25 seconds?
I think it depends which drinks you're making. For example, an espresso martini, lots of times if it's well shaken, it looks like a cappuccino, almost like a very clear foam, very uniform. Instead, if it's not really well shaken, usually it's dark brown with no foam on top.
Understood.
So yes, in a sense, the way you shake will impact on the...
Because I think the way cocktails look is also part of the whole thing, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. In Italy, we all say even the eye wants its part,
Yeah. Great. So let's move on. Please show us what are these things.
Yeah, so these, they are called Japanese dashers. So we place bitters inside them. Many bars use them.
The equipment is called dashers.
Dashers,
okay.
Yeah. This specific style is called Japanese dasher,
right.
I guess, because they're invented
Style
in Japan.
Yeah.
Basically, what this does is allowing the liquid to come out in drops. If you pour very slowly, or a dash. I'm gonna do it in a glass. This is a dash, basically.
Like that one.
So when you just pour, let's say, with a strong movement. Okay. Usually cocktails call for dashes.
Okay.
So for example,
and this you're putting directly in
the mixing glass or in the tin. Sometimes you use these for garnish as well. For example, on a whiskey sour, many times, or a pisco sour, many times you see drops of bitter on top as a garnish. We don't do this just because sometimes it's difficult to control how many drops are coming out. So we just use droplets. That makes it much easier. So we do 1, 2, 3. And then what we do is using this very fancy tool it's difficult to understand maybe if you don't see it, but when you have 3 drops on a foam with this, you can create hearts, for example, or you can do like
that's your embroidery tool. That's your design tool.
Yeah, it's almost like latte art, when you do cappuccino and stuff like that. We have shot glasses, very easy for baby Guinness, tequila shots, and so on. This glass, it's basically a very common tasting glass that you can find around, usually just for tasting or to have a nice whiskey on its own with no ice, rum, and so on. And this is like a flute, let's say, kind of like a flute variation. We use it for drinks like French 75, drinks that are topped up with sparkling wine usually, but are served with no ice. Like exactly champagne cocktail, French 75, etc.
Cool. And
then another tool that we use is a spray bottle. In this case, there's absinthe inside. So for example, a Sazerac cocktail, which is, let's say, a similar cocktail to an old-fashioned in a way, maybe with cognac or rye or both, Peychaud bitters, and then usually it's served in a glass like this with no ice, and the glass is coated with absinthe. So if you don't have a spray bottle, you would pour some absinthe and swirl it around the glass, and then kind of throw it away. To avoid that, you just use a spray, and the whole glass is coated already. So
that's the glass which you are going to be serving. You want that to smell and have aroma.
Yes, you don't want, in this case, for example, you don't want...
I can smell,
Exactly. You don't really want the absinthe, in this case, to impact too much in the taste of the drink, but you want more the aromatics around it, so more in the smell and around it. So that's why you use a spray bottle. Sometimes you do it inside the glass before you pour the drink, or some other times if you just really want the smell on top, you put it after you pour the drink, a couple of sprays.
Oh, there's so many things that goes in making a cocktail.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And
every little detail
and
counts.
then we've not even spoken about garnish, right? And I'm sure there is I mean, garnish kitchen going on a little bit. And you would be adding that as well.
We have a kitchen in the back where we prepare our garnishes usually. For example, for our martinis, for example, instead of using a lemon peel, like a long lemon peel, what we do here is we prepare the peels in advance, and then we use a cookie cutter to just cut little discs, so they are always the same size, and we just spray it on top and put it in the glass.
Okay, nice.
Instead, for old fashions, we use the classic orange zest that fits on the side of the ice cube.